So what's going on? On today's episode, I'm linking up with Tyler Harris, John Henry, and my boy Dex and the City. Gonna chop it up, create some content, and just wing it. Let's see what happens. Enjoy.
People calling me up saying they need a feature, saying we can help each other, but I see the leeches. Get the credit where it's due, I ain't talking Visa, but since we talking Visa, don't say you won't pay me either. Did you catch that?
No camera, man. What's going on? Good to see you, my man.
Yeah, you're a face, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll connect.
Okay.
I just wanted to chill, say hello. Just wrapped up my first morning meeting. Got to go over to meet Tyler and link up with John Henry. And they're going to shoot a podcast. Brittany and I are going to go grab a bite to eat because I'm starving. Diggin's founder, Adam Eskin, just announced that Danny Meyer's investment company, Enlightened Hospitality and Investments, invested $15 million in Diggin to open more fast casual restaurants as well as a full-size sit-down restaurant in the West Village. Very exciting stuff in the restaurant industry. The flat iron is called the Fit Iron, which is probably why I'm spending so much time here, because it is the epicenter of the health and fitness world, wellness, and we do a lot of meaningful work in those categories. So I'm spending a lot of time here because a lot of fitness, wellness, health-focused businesses are based in the Flatiron, Chelsea area.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Breadwinner Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tyler Jack Harris, and as you can see, we've got a number of people. And as you, those of you that are listening to the podcast, as I just realized, can't see anything. So we've got three incredible people with me, and we are, what floor are we on right now?
57th.
We're on the 57th floor of what building?
The Sheffield condominium in Midtown.
Any availability here?
There's a lot of availability.
Got it. So we'll get into a little bit of that.
And I'm the main broker in the building, so you should be hitting me up. I live here.
Well, we are sitting in a picturesque location. We've got an incredible backdrop here. And I wanted to bring in three real, just absolute titans of the real estate industry. And the reason why each of them are here, number one, because they are all three friends of mine. But each of them represent a different area of real estate. Jay being mainly in the commercial side.
Commercial, retail, hospitality, fitness, wellness.
We got Dex on the residential side, and then really Stan has got his hands in a little bit of everything,
Right.
And a lot of other markets as well.
That's right.
So let's just start off real quick with each of us, and I'll start with you this time, Jay. What are some trends that you're seeing in your space? I know a lot of people that are going to social media or to podcasts are looking to learn something.
Sure.
And they love hearing about trends, maybe on the front end. So what's a trend in your space?
Yeah, so, first and foremost, I think, being in the commercial real estate space for 18 years now, when I started, I was hyper local, and that's kind of, how my business has evolved, right? So I could represent, I'm from Long Island, New York, about 30 minutes outside of the city. I would represent a retailer in Long Island, and I was able to do in 1 year, plus or minus 15, 25 transactions. And that's changed drastically, and it's continuing to change. So for me, when I'm working with an emerging concept, or any client for that matter, now it's more about how can I help you and where can I service you, because I know that I can't just focus on a small territory and have the same business. So in an interesting way, and Dex and I have spoken about the platform that Compass has. more so on the residential side today. And for me, it's been about evolving from, you know, a very, very hyper local focus, tell you everything about every street corner, to a lot of the brands that I work with now are interested in the same demographics and psychographics, so I can just learn the major cities throughout the country essentially. And a lot of the brands, you know, that I work with want to locate near each other. So it's interesting. I've gone from learning every little intersection of every street to learning the better shopping centers and downtowns of every city across the US. And I think that in general, and Ryan Serhant and I had this conversation recently about the evolution of real estate brokerage. You know, I think that with all the data and the AI technology in my world, I need to be an amazing connector and networker, like you said, but I need to be also providing a level of service that, you know, I always call it the art and the science, right? So I need to be really marrying the two and learning how to do that across a much wider territory than I used to.
That's interesting. And so, you know, a company can come to you and not just look for their one location that they needed in that particular spot, but they can come to you to talk about the opportunities that are available in locations all over the country.
Correct.
And you're able to then not just provide them with that knowledge, then you're able to actually provide the service by being able to get them those locations.
That's right.
And so it's basically going deeper instead of wider, being able to provide more service to the clients or to the opportunities that come.
Yeah,
versus just trying to go extremely wide in a
completely
narrow area.
But the interesting part for us is, you know, we have a lot of data to work with, right? So I'll understand if I'm representing a Soul Cycle or an Orange Theory or a Barry's Boot Camp or, you know, any of these big fitness concepts, boutique fitness concepts, we can dive into, you know, where they're doing really well or where they're not doing so well, duplicate the wins, limit the failures as much as possible. And, you know, today, by using like geofencing and mobile GPS data, we can get kind of scary with the amount of information that we get. And it's really, you know, the GPS service that we subscribe to essentially can tell us when a phone is actually penetrating a studio. And then just based on that information, we understand, based on where that phone rests at night, where the person lives and where the phone rests mostly during the day, where that person works. Wow. So then we can better understand, you know, who our customer is.
Wow.
And if we could also then find areas that have our customer that aren't entering our studio and then market directly to them. And that ties into social media, obviously, in a pretty major way. So.
Sure.